forbidden fruit. When I was a kid, I learned to draw by copying comic books. Funny animals and superheroes comprised most of my repertoire, but I also copied Betty Bean, the pinup queen. Betty Bean comic books had lousy stories, but every issue had a paper doll cutout page with Betty in a different colored bathing suit. Cut her out, glue her on cardboard, cut out the cardboard, then cut out the clothes with the paper flaps and dresser. That's what girls were supposed to do. But me? I copied Betty on tracing paper and left off all her clothes. At 8 years old, I wasn't sure why naked girls interested me, but they did. Then I began to worry that drawing Betty naked would condemn me forever to the fires of hell. It was pretty easy to go to hell back in the 1950s. Eating meat on Fridays, missing Mass on Sundays, entertaining impure thoughts. Those were just a few of the tickets on the train to Brimstone Junction. At school, Sister Julina warned the entire class that we'd commit a mortal sin and go to hell if we ate an apple without washing it. Her reasoning went as follows. Germs are everywhere, and one of those deadly demons might be crawling on the apple we were about to eat. Stick the apple under the kitchen faucet, and the germ would get flushed down the drain. But fail to wash the apple, and the germ would ride on the bite you chomped off, slide down your esophagus, and slither straight to your stomach. Once inside your body, it was a simple matter for that deadly germ to duplicate itself and create a terminal disease, like tuberculosis. Then, you would die and your death would be suicide, since only laziness prevented you from washing that apple when you knew good and well that an infectious germ might be crawling on its surface. Thus, you killed yourself on purpose and you'd go straight to hell for committing suicide. How's that for theological logic? For years I scrubbed every piece of fruit I ate to keep from committing suicide. But other sins were not so easy to avoid, especially sins of impurity, which the nuns warned us about constantly. Impurity was a vague sin. It had something to do with nakedness and with kissing and touching. Impure thinking was forbidden too. Could a drawing be impure? Would God send me to hell because I drew Betty Bean naked? And my worries extended beyond what I was drawing to what I was doing. See, during neighborhood tag games, I've gotten into the habit of chasing Kathy Wagner, who'd run between houses or behind shrubs where nobody could see us. When I'd catch her, that is, when she'd let me catch her, I yanked her shorts down. That's all we did. We were only 8 years old, too young for real hanky-panky. I had no idea why I liked our game. I know she liked it because she never squealed on me, and girls are born squealers. Kathy was my first love, you might say my first muse. Then our game came to an end after Sister Julina lectured about impurity and how impure souls get a one-way ticket to hell. Kathy and I got scared about burning for all eternity and quit our game. But I didn't stop undressing Betty Bean, because I'd come to realize that the Bible sanctioned nude art. See, our family Bible was crammed with illustrations by Gustave Doré, who'd drawn Eve trotting around Eden without a stitch. And when God floods the world, Doré drew crowds of naked sinners scrambling up hills to avoid the oncoming deluge. Those drawings were moral and unsinful, because the bishop had stamped his imprimatur on the front of the Bible, and that meant everything printed on the enclosed pages was sin-free. It's true that Sister Julina probably had stricter standards than the bishop. So, whenever I sketched Betty Bean undraped, I also drew an apple and a snake, changing a pinup queen into a religious allegory. That apple appears in lots of my art. I suppose Freud would conclude that nuns still haunt the recesses of my subconscious. Anyway, to avoid impurity, I fill my art with symbols, just to be on the safe side.